Hello everyone, my name is Neetu Dalal. Welcome back to my YouTube channel called Edu Classes. Today I wanted to film a video about something which I've been pretty much doing since a very young age. I have been reading novels since the time I was in probably class 3rd or 4th, and I wanted to share a few books that I recommend somebody reading who's just a beginner. So if you're planning to start with a few novels, here are good suggestions for you, and you can definitely pick out the ones that you like from the list that I'm going to share. So the very first book that I want to talk about is A Season of Ghost by Ruskin Bond. Ruskin Bond, as you all know, is well known for his writing, and he writes some really good books. But the advantage of starting out with this book is that it has some short stories. So you will not have to read a whole 300-400 pages book at once, but it has sub short stories, a collection of short stories which are just 10 to 11 pages long. So you can start by reading those short stories, and that can help you form a grip or form an interest into the process of reading. If you will start with the most thickest book available around you, the chances are that you will actually leave it midway and you will not be able to complete it. That will not help you or benefit you, or not, you will not get into a habit of reading books. So one tip that I really recommend everybody who's just starting out is pick a novel which seems interesting, is of the genre that you want, and has a compilation of short stories. So now if I talk about this book, it is based on some ghost stories, right? It is intriguing. You can read every story, and it gives you something which the other doesn't. So in that way, it is very gripping. You will not be able to leave the book once you pick it up. That is something I guarantee. But it's a very good recommendation, and if you're genuinely interested in ghost stories like we all are since childhood, you can definitely pick this one up for your first time. Alright, so the next book that I want to talk about is The Legend of Lakshmi Prasad by Twinkle Khanna. Like the previous book, this also is a compilation of short stories, and it talks about the story of Lakshmi Prasad, on which the movie Padman has been made. Such ordinary events and such ordinary day-to-day stories which make this book a wonderful read. Once you pick this up, you will be amazed by the simplicity and by how small things can change your life. So if you're beginning to read out books, this also could be a very, very high recommendation on my list, because this, again, every story is not more than 30 pages, and once you find the interest or it grips you, you will not be able to put down this book. Next book that I want to talk about is The White Tiger by Arvind Adiga. It is one of the books that I heard about for the longest time, but I have read it very later in my life, maybe in my graduation or in my college days. But one book that leaves its imprints on you, and I blame myself for not reading it earlier, because there are some books you hear about very often, but you feel like the impression that you get doesn't really get you. So I picked this book up really late, but it's a story of a guy who makes it for him through wreckages, and how he manages to go up high the ladder. Very critically acclaimed. This one thing that I can say is that you will be really moved by the story. A little disadvantage for somebody who's beginning is the fact that it is 321 pages long, so you will have to be committed to complete this book. But I assure you, once you do, you will not be able to be more than thankful to me for suggesting you this book. The next book that I want to talk about is Tell Me Your Dreams by Sidney Sheldon. It is no surprise to me that this has made to my top 5 list for anybody out there to read, because this is a psychological thriller, and it is based on real cases that have happened. Though it's a work of fiction, but it has derived from actual cases, right? The book is so gripping. It is, you cannot imagine how much you will stick to this book once you pick it up. One slight disadvantage again, or one slight concern that I have for a beginner, is that it is again 330 pages long. So you will have to be really committed to find out the jewel that this book is. but I highly recommend reading this book. I cannot emphasize enough on, how much this book could actually get to you, or how much this can actually give to you, the information that you can get. The last book that has made to my top 5 novels for a beginner to read is Shattered by Karen Roberts. I have, entered it in the last spot because I want to talk about this book the most, and it is the closest to my heart. I've read it multiple times, and in fact I was reading it yesterday night. I cannot tell you, it is such a seductive romantic thriller. You will, the love story, the suspense, the thrill of it, you will just keep reading this book once you pick it up. It's a 330 long book, but it's worth the commitment. Once you will pick it up and once you'll start reading, there will not be one dull moment, and you will be stuck onto the book like maybe most probably we are stuck to Netflix these days. So that's the last book that I would like to recommend all of you. Out of the books that I've included in my list, you could actually start out with any one, depending on the taste that you have or the genres that appeal to you more. All the books are equally gripping, and 3 of them are suspense thrillers, which is my personal favorite genre as well. So I highly recommend reading those books, because it forms an interest for you, and it will be very unlikely that once your interest is there and you want to know what happens in the story further, you will keep it down. So suspense thrillers is one genre that I recommend or suggest everybody start reading with. But out of those 2 books are the ones which have short stories, so that can also really work well for you depending on your taste. Let me know how you like this video. Like us if you like such videos, so that we could actually make more of them. Subscribe to our channel, comment. We love hearing from you. Thank you so much. We'll see you again with our next videos coming soon. Thank you so much.